There you are, Tom, handsome as ever. This is not the smartest guys in the room. What's up, my friend?
Thanks, buddy. Good morning, Dom. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Not the Smartest Guys in the Room, where you get to watch Dom and I clumsily bat around at the ideas that affect all of us personally and professionally in our everyday lives, something like that. That's kind of what we do, right? We ask people who are smarter than us to come in and help us out and talk through these things so we can all kind of gain a better understanding of how to deal with things that we encounter in our everyday lives.
That's a good way to put it, Tom. And today we're going to talk about attention to detail. So that can, what would we say? That can expand so vastly on what that means. Whether it's, as me and you were just talking about, running a marathon or an Ironman, as you are about to do this weekend. So I'm sure there's attention to detail along the way so that you don't gas out and on mile 10 or sink in a river or a pond somewhere. Is it a pond, a lake? What do you actually
It's a
swim in?
river. It's a
It's
river.
a river?
Yeah, the swim is in a river.
So there's current and stuff.
There is. But they designed the course. So I'm doing Ironman Maryland this Saturday. It'll be my fourth Ironman. So I've done Maryland twice. I did Ironman Mont Tremblant once. That race actually doesn't exist anymore. They don't do a full Ironman there anymore. They still do a half, but they don't do a full. So I've done those two places. I'm going back to Maryland again this year. I'm trying to set a personal best in Maryland this year. So my goal is to finish under 10 hours. That's the goal. Not to I'm not going to get anywhere close to like low nines. I'm just trying to squeak in under 10 hours. Because I would really love, I'm coming up on 46. I'm going to be 46 here in a few weeks, and less than 2 weeks actually. For me, I'm running out of time to get like appreciatively faster at an Ironman distance, and so I want to try to reach high and get a single digit Ironman time, which is a tall order. It's a tough thing to do, but I'm working towards it. That's the goal. So we'll see how things come on race day. But to your point, Dom, yeah, I mean, attention to detail is incredibly important and really matters. One of the things that you hear people talk about in Ironman all the time is that there's actually 4 disciplines, right? Ironman is a triathlon, right? So everybody thinks of it as 3 things: you swim, and then you bike, and then you run. But a lot of people talk about nutrition as the 4th discipline, because it can very much make or break your race. If you don't have good nutrition on the bike and during the run, you're just not going to have a good day. You're not going to do well. And good nutrition leading up to race day. So I actually started my races on Saturday. I started my race nutrition yesterday. That's how big a deal it is to actually be cognizant of and pay attention to the detail of nutrition in a race like Ironman. So that's just one of the ways that attention to detail really matters. One of the ways I'm thinking about a lot right now, obviously, because I got the race coming up on Saturday. So everything in my brain is like Ironman, 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 Ironman.
Okay, so there can't be any misses. There can't be baby crying. There's attention to detail in all things. Like, Becky, get down there. I need a full 8 hours tonight.
No. I mean, come on. Like the baby's gonna do what the baby's gonna do. Like, I can't do anything about that. But she's a little bit too young to really understand what her dad's trying to accomplish right now. So we'll give her a pass. But no, I mean, it's I'm doing everything I can do, right? I very much kind of embrace that philosophy. I think I've mentioned it in here before, but like you can control, you can't control what other people do, but you can always control what you do, right? You can always control how you react. And so, just trying to make sure that I'm as in control of all the different facets of race preparation that I can be in control of, so that when it comes to race day, I give myself the best opportunity to succeed.
It's good stuff. I got two stories for you on top of that. What's up, John, Brian? How you guys doing? First story is when my mom was going through Alzheimer's and stuff like that. Sometimes I just sit there and talk to her, and she wouldn't say much or couldn't anymore. And so I would just talk, or we'd just sit there, I'd push her outside and we'd look at a leaf or a tree or something. So one day, this is years back, I'm like, Mom, what do you do when your kid, just like I'm venting to, Mom, what do you do when your kids don't listen, and no matter what you do, it's wrong, and you're trying to be the best you can, and nothing's working out. Everything you do, you're a failure. I'm just like giving her like my whole, like poor me. I failed at everything at this point. And so my mom, who never hadn't said much for years, she says, "You do what you do." And I'm like, "What?" And so I'm like, why is she giving me like clear advice after like years of not knowing me? Do what you do. And so to your point, you just keep moving forward and do what you can. And so I reflect on do what you do from time to time. Okay, now, more importantly, we're going to talk about attention to detail. John, Brian, I think you will love this. I got to start. I'm going to throw a curveball to Tom real quick. My son, he watched some clips of Not the Smartest Guy, and Tom had a hater. And my son was like, "Hey, Tom had a hater on the clip." The guy said, "Just effing spit it out already." And so John, Brian, what do you think about, I'm not even letting Tom answer this first. What do you think about Tom having a hater?
Well, I think we all have haters. And if everybody loves you, you're doing something wrong. I'll just say that in his defense. I got plenty of haters, and that's quite all right. It's a free country. They're allowed to like or dislike all they want.
I got to agree with John. If you want to be liked by everyone, go sell ice cream. I'm okay with haters. I would never try to intentionally cause that to happen. But, you've got to be authentic. You got to be you. And if that bothers somebody else, that is okay. And you take care of the ones that surround you and support you, and just blow those haters off. That's simple. I'm complete.
Okay, and me and Brian, we had a phone call yesterday, and we were talking about somebody we're both friends with that has a lot of haters, and me and Brian both love the guy because he's authentic and he's just him. He doesn't give a F. Yeah, and so it's like if you once you get that, he's a good dude, but he doesn't give a F, and he puts it out to the world, and you're like, holy cow, he is scorched earth, but he's a good dude to us and to a good friend to people. So Tom, we will let you do you want to speak to your haters right now?
No, I mean, I think John's right. I think if you're universally beloved, you're probably not doing things right? Like you're not being honest about what you think or who you are. If everybody says they love you, I've said on here a million times, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I am totally okay with that. I'm totally fine with it. I wonder, I wonder what clip it was, because there was one clip in particular that you had said, "Oh, this is a good clip," and you had sent it to me, and I said, "Oh, I'm not going to share that because it took me like 9 years to get to the point, and it wasn't good. I didn't think it was good enough for me to share to represent myself, and I didn't want to put it out as a clip." I wonder if it was that clip. I wonder if you shared that clip, and it was just me. I was kind of bumbling around, and hey, look, we all have good days and bad days. We have better days than others, and sometimes I'm a little bit more eloquent and quicker to the point than I am some other days, right? So, what am I going to do? But I guess I didn't get there fast enough for that person, and oh well, sorry, buddy. Don't know what to tell you.
Hey, I will say that even my son pointed out that this was not a follower, and he watched the whole video. So you did something right, that they were interested enough to make a comment that they hate Tom. They didn't say that, but okay, go on, Tom.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm not bothered by it. I'm not bothered by it either way. I got thicker skin than that. I can't let that kind of stuff get to me.
No, you can't. All right, we're talking not the smartest guys in the room today. We're talking attention to detail. A buddy of mine the other day, we were at a business meeting, and he said he went to one stereo shop, and he was backing up his car. This guy's real into like cars. His BMW's lowered and has rims, and he supercharges it and all this stuff. So he's backing in his garage, and his beep, beep, beep doesn't go on. And he's like, what the hell's going on? And he almost hit something. And so all of a sudden he realizes somebody that hooked up his new stereo, like disconnected his beeper that's sounding when he's reversing. So he goes to the next stereo shop to have somebody look at it. They fix all the wires, put them behind stuff. They made his trunk leather to match the inside of his car. And they just took it the whole 9 yards. And my buddy who's in the cars would like to show it, like says, look at this, look at this attention to detail. And the guy told him, he said, it's always about the last 15 minutes. And this was just about attention to detail in this gentleman's case that fixed the car the right way. He said, you can always like do things fast to get them done, or you can spend that last 15 minutes to make your project better. So today we're talking all things attention to detail. Tom, you want to jump on that? And then John and Brian, you're next. So think about it. Leslie, Julie, come on.
Yeah. I mean, just listening to that story, Tom, what it makes me think of is, when you often see, and I remember this from when I was a kid, my parents were having the house painted, right? And I remember I was very curious about the house painters. I was young. I was like maybe 6, 7 years old, something like that. And I was very curious about the painters and how they did their work and what they were doing. And the painter was actually like a family friend. So I was outside like hanging out, talking to him and stuff like that. And I remember him stressing to me that really the most important part of the process was the prep. The most important part of painting a house, right? Of getting good adhesion from the paint, of doing a paint job that was going to last for a long time was the prep work, right? That stuff that you don't see at the end, right? You don't even know it happened. To look at a freshly painted house, you wouldn't even know that somebody had spent time scraping and sanding and power washing and priming and using wood filler and all the things that you do to prep a house for painting. You wouldn't know, standing at the curb looking at that house, how many hours of prep work had gone into it. But you'll be able to tell in 5 years, right? You'll be able to tell in 10 years. You'll be able to tell by how long that paint job lasts, by the durability of it, because you did all the work in advance, all that detail work that leads to a much better result down the line. And that's kind of how I think about pre-production for the work that I do, right? All of that time that we put in, I often say to people that pre-production is the most important part of the production process. It's the most often overlooked by my clients. I get questions all the time. What's this? When I send a proposal to somebody, what's all this time? What are we doing before we shoot? Why don't we just start shooting? Right. And I explain to them, because if you want to create something really good, if you want to create something that's going to be evergreen, that you're going to be able to use in a lot of different ways, through a lot of different mediums, on a lot of different platforms, if you want to create something that is going to last for your brand, then you have to put in that work in advance. You have to do that pre-production. You have to pay attention to the details so that when it comes time to putting it all together, all the pieces fit perfectly and everything comes together exactly the way you want it to accomplish exactly what you want to accomplish, right? So I think that's why that in my life, in my professional life, that's how attention to detail sort of manifests, right? Is that it really sets you up for success or for failure, right? Paying attention to the details sets you up for success. Ignoring the details, you do so at your own peril and will inevitably set you up for failure down the line. right? Just in the very same way that not doing a good job scraping, not doing a good job priming, and not doing a good job prepping to paint your house is going to mean that in 5 years, that paint's going to bubble. It's going to start peeling and cracking, and you're going to have to start all over again, right? So that's how I think of attention to detail.
It's good stuff, Tom. Let's keep it going. John, in radio, in your business, how does attention to detail make the difference, or does it?
Well, it's the dual thing, a double-sided coin, like most things. So everybody realizes they're making mistakes. Mistakes happen. The things we learn from them, and you put the best product possible. Some of the best movies in history have glaring plot holes, and make major mistakes, like having crew members in a film. All kinds of things that don't match. And we look back, it's like, something missed it. Well, people are very forgiving. They don't really notice that unless you draw a red flag to it. The one thing I would say is that realize mistakes may happen. It's not the end of the world, but improve on them and don't commit the same mistake over and over and over again. And the very last thing I'll say is my wife and I, we always say this, we're taught this by other people. We used to say, I'm sorry a lot. And you say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And the answer is obviously, yes, you are sorry, but you're not making changes. You're not correcting your behavior. Stop saying you're sorry and start correcting the mistakes. It's as simple as that.
I love that, John. I just want to jump in. I just had a funny thought when you started talking about movies and plot holes. I wanted to point out one of my favorites. For anybody that's seen Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, if you pay attention, if you think about that movie, Indiana Jones has no impact on the conclusion of that story. He has no material impact on that story, because whether he's there or not, the Nazis are going to open the Ark and they're all going to die. Whether he's there or not, it makes no difference, right? That story would end exactly the same way, even if he wasn't there. So you're really he's a vehicle through which you're seeing the story and learning about the events, but he doesn't actually impact the events. He doesn't change anything in the end of that story. And I always think that's pretty funny. People think of Indiana Jones as, oh, he saved the day. He didn't save anything. Things happened and he just happened to be there.
Good stuff. I'm thinking about Teen Wolf at the end, and you guys can go Google the ending of Teen Wolf and see the weird stuff that happens there. John, I appreciate the relationship advice too. It's a good premise, like one in business, but also in relationship. If you're saying I'm sorry all the time and not fixing anything, are you truly sorry? Or I mean, what are you doing there? So, John, thanks for that, man. All right, let's keep rolling. Swifty, attention to detail. How can you be better at it? How does it work for you? Is it something when you're in the grit philosophy and things like that? Is it something people need to work on?
Well, I think attention to detail sometimes comes with, prioritizing personally how important the task is. And yes, we want to pay attention to detail to everything as often as possible. But I think there's some tasks or things we do in our life that maybe have a little more meaning where you put in that additional detail. To Tom's story, I have painted more garages than I care to think about. And the worst part about them was the prep work. If you've never scraped a garage with a putty knife, a scraper, and a wire brush, you don't know what, like, especially, when you're in your teens, that is the detail. The painting's the easy part, in all honesty, but it's that prep work. And I think, like anything, you, like the old saying goes, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. And I think that prep work is where the detail comes in, preparing for a speech, preparing for, as he said, an Ironman or a triathlon. Preparing for anything, I think, is where you start to kind of go down that detail. And then, the end result, as I used to tell, sales professionals, the fortunes and the follow-up. it's not always over after that act. Sometimes there's things afterwards that you need to be just as detailed at as you were with the prep part, the beginning part. So it's like writing a book. Everybody thinks that you've really climbed the mountain and are done, especially new people. I'm guilty of this. You spend all this time learning and writing a book and going through the sayings, and you've got the book written. And for a lot of people, they don't realize that was the easy part. It's that marketing part, that what you do afterwards, that to me is tougher and maybe out of a lot of people's comfort zone versus writing the book. So take the time, educate yourself, put it down into actionable steps so that you don't miss any detail. And then it's a choice. You're going to follow all the steps, both in preparation and afterwards, or, you're going to do it, I don't want to say half-assed, but to a certain degree just to get done with it. I'm complete.
Right on, Brian. I like this idea that each step has its own detail. So it's endless on every step. And at some point, we got to move on. But at some point, you got to focus on those details. You do the best with what you have right there at that time. So, okay, we're going to get to Leslie. Here's your subject matter right now. We have attention to detail. And Tom had a hater the other day that did not like him. I told my buddy Jim, I had one on the highway the other day that did not like the way I was driving. So I waited at the next light for this gentleman and told him what I thought. And he told me what he thought. And then I thought about getting out of my car, but then I thought, I'm really not that mad. So I moved on from my hater. So Leslie, what do you got?
Can you hear me? I'm getting poor reception connection. Not sure if you could hear me.
You sound good now. Go on.
Okay, good. First of all, I just wanted to say to you guys, I've been in and out of Clubhouse for how many years? 3 years now. And you guys are like these paisans that stick together, that just, I've never met you guys, but you can just hear the authenticity and really being real. So it's a breath of fresh air to have one app that really is authentic still. But yeah, getting to the detail. I think I've always been very unorthodox, but I've always been this artist just dabbling with mixed media, meaning shifting and changing. So if something is not speaking to me, like putting a custom tailored suit on, I try to tweak it a little bit. And as I grow and evolve over the last 3 years, I really, before the podcasting, I really took the time to figure out, okay, I have this wonderful content. I have these contacts. I'm going to funnel people through a platform. And that platform I created was Keep It Dirty. And that platform was podcasting. And taking people off of platforms, building relationships off of these social media apps, but interplaying, always dabbling, shifting gears. So the attention to detail, I come across very free-spirited, very off the cuff, very, like as we're sitting in a living room when I am engaging with guests. But I'll tell you one thing, I do my diligence. I do my detail work. I do a lot of research, and that's in my DNA, being in product development for many years. So I'm hardwired that way, but I'm also very creative. And I think that's the beauty of our success, finding our niche and finding our voice. So that is that's the way I've been trying to navigate through all of this. Yeah, thanks for asking. It's good to hear all of you again.
Leslie, thank you, and we appreciate you. Well, she was such praise for Not the Smartest Guys. Me and Tom do believe in consistency, right? Showing up every week, doing the best you can. I mean, that's, I just, even like in social and things like that, the consistency matters so much. And I guess that's a detail of it, making sure you're consistent with whatever you got going on. So many people show up when they want something from you. Clap if you clap or make some kind of weird emoji if you dislike this. How many people show up when it's so clear they want something from you, and then you don't see them again? You know, or they come, they go, they come, they go. You know, right? You know, I'll give it. Yep, we all feel
Every
go on,
day,
Tom.
every
Yep.
day.
Go on, go on.
I just had Dom, to that point. I just had an introduction, right, to somebody who's in my industry. We do different things, but I got introduced to somebody who owns a business in my industry, and like geographically close to where I am, and it was interesting because we had a connection call, and I thought it was just that, a connection call. How can we maybe refer business back and forth? Like, are there times when you have a client that's maybe not a good fit for you, but they might be a better fit for me, or vice versa, right? I thought it was going to be that kind of call. That's usually how those calls go when I talk to somebody else in my field. And instead, this guy tried to basically pitch me on his services and was trying to get me to hire him to do something that I could do myself if I wanted to, but I don't even want to. And and it was really kind of odd. He sort of at the end of the day was like, at the end of the call was like, so can I, you know, what can we do to help you? And I'm like, nothing. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not, this is a connection call. This is not a sales call. Like, what is happening right now? And then he put me on his mailing list, and he's sending me like tips about video. Like as if I'm just part of like his sort of like, I'm in his CRM as like somebody as a potential client. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, this could have been a relationship where we were trying to support each other and further each other's businesses. But instead of that, you turned it into apparently how you treat everything, which is a pitch opportunity, right? And you tried to pitch me on your services when I'm clearly not a customer. Like, I'm obviously not a customer for your services. So what are we doing? What's happening here? But yeah, I thought that was funny. Like, when you ask about that, when you just asked that question about people always asking, like, that's exactly how that whole call, like how that call went. It was scheduled for an hour. I ended it after about 20 minutes. I was like, I've said everything I need to say. And it's clear to me that the only interest that he has right now is trying to get me to buy from him. And I'm not interested. So yeah, it drives me nuts when people do that, especially when it's somebody in your industry. Like, come on, man, just like, let's have a conversation. Like, let's talk about our different approaches and how we handle different problems, and maybe how, you know, we can pass business back and forth and support each other. Don't try to get me to buy from you. Like, what are you doing? It's weird. I don't know. Anyway, it just reminded me of that.
Yeah, this is good. This is good because that drives me nuts too. Over aggressive people trying to sell me stuff that we don't even know each other yet. And you're pitching me. I recently did like, I don't know, like a live stream. Like, I went to watch a friend on a live stream, and my friend did great. Since then, I've been pitched like 10 times by the place. Like, part of this, it was like a bunch of collection of speakers, and they pitched me. So here's their pitch. Wait, here's how lame this was. I even wrote it down. Are you looking to buy, sell, or grow your business? Like, come on. Like, and then, well, do you have these problems with your buy, sell, or grow? So basically, you picked 3 of the most general things of all time that anybody could answer. So finally, they called me again, and I'm like, take me off. I don't want to be on this. I'm not comfortable answering these questions. I'm insulted by it. Like, I see, I got to calm down.
Do you have a business? Are you trying to make money? Like, duh.
Yeah, right.
Obviously.
Yeah,
come on.
Okay.
Like, if you're going to try to sell me, at least be like a little bit creative, or like, you know, show some ingenuity or something. But like, don't just be the most generic version that you can possibly be.
And then be mad at me like, oh, what? You don't want to grow your business? I don't want to talk to you about it because your pitch is so lame. Buy, sell, or grow. Do you have a business? Come on. That was a good one. All right. Come on. Not the smartest guys in the room. What do you got, Tom?
No, I was just going to say, yeah, like, I mean, I don't know. We could keep going on that, making fun of that.
Right. We're good. It's too sidetracked.
It's the most ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous way to try to sell somebody is to just be. It's almost like they rather than. It's like taking a sales course and just copying and pasting like the ideas from the sales course, like from an online sales course or something, rather than adapting them to your business. So it's like, do you want to grow, sell, or buy a business? It's like, no. Those were options in the template. Like you should have picked one, not left all three. Like, what are you doing? You just copy and pasted the template. It's like getting an email that's like, hello, name. Like, come on. What are you doing? What are you doing?
It's not good. Not good. Okay. Our friend Julie Loken. Julie, we're talking attention to detail. We're talking poor sales technique, and we're talking haters. I wonder, Julie, you ever come across any haters?
I sure have, Dom and Tom. And I was
Yeah.
thinking about that. You've made it, Tom, when someone takes the time to write smack in your feed or whatever. And the one hater I remember at the top of my mind is that they were making fun of me, calling me from Saturday Night Live, Rick Smiley, I think his name is. And he's like, I'm good enough. And doggone it, I like it, like myself. You remember that skit? They were calling me that guy from SNL.
Yeah, Stuart, whatever his name
Stuart
is.
Smiley.
always saves the world. Now I know who Julie reminds me of.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Uncle Tom.
Just kidding.
Hey, I got the sidebar. Julie made a shirt. It's got a big mustache on it. I just see this online.
This shirt is great. That is
It has a
awesome.
giant mustache, and it says WWJWD. What would John Wiley do? This like some things like make me happy. So I'm just like over the weekend, I'm looking at like social media, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a giant mustache with what would John Wiley do? It's gold, man. This is a precious
Someone
shirt.
actually randomly bought that too, like randomly. So someone's going to be wearing that. But that's the devil in the deep. That's the special thing about detail, and that's what I was going to bring up, at least on detail. The one thing I know that I really try to do is remember people's names everywhere I go. So if I'm walking down the street, I see someone I met a month ago, I can go up and say, hey, Charlie, hey, Susan. That attention to detail can be a game changer because it makes people feel so special. That's one thing my dad taught me as a little kid. Always remember people's names. So that's the detail I like to immerse myself in. If you will. And what would John Wiley do? Does John Wiley remember people's names? Not so sure.
Julie, that's a great talent, and I agree. And you know what? It's hard, man. And I'm just awful. And it's like everybody remembers the dude in the wheelchair, and they come up to you like you're best friends, and that's a gift to be able to do. And I totally agree with you. When you can name somebody by name that you haven't seen in a while, it really makes them feel special and important. So I think it's a gift everybody should try to learn better because we're not all good at it. And to the mustache thing, I believe John and Julie, we've talked about possibly doing a little fundraiser around growing a mustache and then shaving them off around Creative Con and donating the money to a charity. So whoever's going to end up going, Dom, I'm just trying to picture you in a mustache. You might have to buy a panel van too if you grow a mustache. I don't know.
Oh my God, my husband walked out of the house with a mustache today, and I'm like, is that mustache working for you? And he's
They all work. They all work. Go on, Tom.
I want to see Dom with like a Magnum PI mustache.
There you go. Look.
I kind of want to see that. I kind of want to see that. You should give us a preview. Get a little fake mustache you can stick on for next week, and we'll see what Dom looks like with a mustache.
A few years ago, I'm at a Steeler game. I'm there with my daughter, and we ran into a bunch of buddies. And she's 5 years younger at the time. And people are like, they're talking about tattoos or something. And my daughter says, I'm going to get a tattoo. And they go, what are you going to get a tattoo of? She said, on the back of my finger, I'm going to get a mustache so I can put it up against my face like this, and I'd have a mustache. And we were all like, that's gold. This, so I'll just get a mustache on my finger. So, and then I won't have to wear it all the time or shave it off. All right, not the smartest guys in the room. We're talking attention to detail. We're talking haters. We can go through probably 50 other things I forgot. So go on, Jason. Where you been?
Yeah, let's go back to attention to detail. Jason, let's try to get back on
haters. Yeah,
try to get back
haters.
on the rails, right? Because
Okay,
we sort of fell off, and I'm 100% part of it and guilty of it. But let's try to get back on the topic we started with. So we're talking about attention to detail, Jason. Help us get back on the rails. What is the single most important way that you think attention to detail impacts your life and the work that you do?
The first most is the finished product. Would I want to use it, consume it, or can I rely on it? And if the details aren't there, then what do I have? You have garbage. I don't want it to be surface level, because I feel that when you put detail into your work, you're putting craftsmanship. And in this day and age, people talk about jobs, and I'm like, you're talking the wrong garbage to my ears. I don't want to buy from somebody who has a job. I want to buy from somebody who's a professional. And the professional knows that there is a level of craftsmanship in everything that they do. They do templates, but at the end of it, it's when you have that personal touch that makes it relatable, and then that your client keeps coming back to you because you took the time to make it meaningful for them and yourself, then it's a win. But if you forget the details, like someone was talking to me about, well, always feel so scatterbrained. And I'm like, of course you're scatterbrained, because you don't want to focus on what really matters. So let's get you to get out of your emotional adrenaline self, and let's get into the details. Give me an outline. Like they were talking to me about writing a book. And I said, okay, I'm not a book writer, but if I were to do this, here's what I do. Give me your outline. And they did. And what ended up happening was I looked at, they just gave me 12 terms, like 12 phrases. And I'm like, if I were to write a book on this, what would I do? How would I set it up? And so they go, oh, I don't even know. They got confused, right? I said, okay, let's take your emotional self and sit that child down. Now let's put in some details. Now here's what an outline would look like if I were to do what you did. And they were like, oh my God, how did you read my mind? Because I'm setting with the thought of the book. The book reveals what you're trying to convey, and persuade someone to say, this is the experience, or this is the journey, and why you should be here. So if you put those details, the finer details, instead of just like surface stuff, it's the meat and potatoes. It's why you eat. It's why you taste. It's why you read or look, and it takes a lot of work to put details. But those people say, here's a first way I turn out of people who I don't want to invest into. I don't have time. Sorry, no offense, but
Hey,
I'm only
Jason,
interested in people
I
who
want
have
you.
time for it.
You said something before that I want to double back on. You said
Sure.
you could hire. You're not going to hire somebody if it's their job. It's you want the professional.
Yeah.
How does passion impact you? Like if you're dealing with, I know you do some work with Brandon down there. Brandon's passionate as can be about his work. How do you pick? Does that matter to you? Or are you like, this person's good, but this person's good and passionate? Can you tell, or is that based in the
You
decision?
have to get past passion. You really do. You have to get past passion, because professionals, in my opinion, get passionate later after they've had some miles under their belt, to see if they still want it. I've met a lot of people I went to law school with, and they dipped out after 3 years, dipped out after 1 year, and they don't want to do it. They didn't have a passion. They thought they did. They were so passionate going into school, passion when they graduated, then get to the real job. And it's just like, where are you at now? You have to get past passion. You have to get past the adrenaline high that your illusion of your mind is in, to let's get to earth. You're going to be working with this. So passion is important, but it's one of the many foundational points of your long journey that's going to stick. So, and details is going to sort you out with that. So if that makes any sense.
All right on, my man. Sometimes I'm going to go with, I'm going to do what Tom does and just push. This is Tom pushing back, but from Dom's mouth. I'm a believer in passion. As far as I remember this, I think it's Andrew Carnegie had this quote, like, you take the man with money and education, and I'll take the person with passion, and I'll win every time. You know, so that's it. Could be a different school of thought there, but that's why I love the people that are thinking about it when they go to sleep at night. They wake up, it's breakfast time, and they're still. I wonder at breakfast time, Carrie, we're going to you. I wonder at breakfast if Carrie's thinking about a shoot from the day before and how she could have positioned somebody in the sunlight differently or something like that. Carrie, go on, my friend. We are talking attention to detail. I wonder in photography if attention to detail matters, or you just take a couple hundred photos. Let's go on, Carrie.
Okay, so for example, when I have a cover shoot, I'm not going to sleep the night before. I'm running energy days before, literally. And because I can't control the adrenaline. And sometimes some of the shoots that I did, I didn't even sleep the day after because I'm replaying every single frame in my head. So I'm like the Queen's Gambit where I look at the chessboard at night on my ceiling and I'm working through all those poses. So it's like I'm a Olympian athlete, and I'm not athletic at all. Except for my high kicks. Just kidding. But it's that serious. So if you compete at that level, it's all passion. Every single bit of it is passion. And my job isn't a job. It's my life. It's beyond that. It's every component of who I am. And I've been doing this 30 years. I just wrote a book without even an outline because I can get up and do a TED Talk about relationships and dating because I study it every single day of my life. And there's no act in any of this. It's who I am. And I think when you hear me speak about it, I think you believe me. So there's no way I could do all the things that I do if I wasn't 100% passionate about it. Because why else am I doing it? I'm doing it for the purpose to help other people. I'm doing it to give my best to the magazine I worked for 28 years, or the clients that I serve who are so dedicated to me. And yeah, so I do believe in passion.
Yeah, I think I'm with Carrie when you talked about at the beginning of what you said there when you talked about being sleepless kind of the night before a big shoot, big cover shoot. I definitely can relate to that. I still, 23 plus years into my career in production, I have never slept well the night before a shoot. I do sleep, like I'm not sleepless. But I don't sleep well, and I usually wake up before my alarm goes off in the morning. And from the moment that my feet hit the floor, actually, but from the moment my eyes open, my brain is going 100 miles an hour, just running through, cycling through all the details, all the things we have to get done, the order in which things have to happen, all the little details that we've spent sometimes, in some cases, for some of the bigger projects I've worked on, months lining up, right, to have everything go perfect on that day, on the shoot day. I'm 100% focused on that. So yeah, I think I definitely relate to that, Carrie, and I think that paying attention to the details, being that sort of obsessive about it, in sort of small doses, right, in sort of micro dosing obsession, right, in the lead up to big, momentous shoots or things that you've put a lot of effort into producing, can actually be a really good thing. I think being that obsessive about things on a day-to-day basis obviously can be incredibly destructive, but microdosing obsession like that, I think can actually be really good. And it's something that I've done professionally for a long time. And I think the people that are really good at producing and directing large scale, complicated shoots like that are the ones who are good at, kind of letting their obsessions come out for those short bursts when they need it, and then putting it to rest when it doesn't serve them well. So that's something that I can definitely relate to from that for sure. And now I'm just looking at the time here, and here we are. It is 10:15. We're 45 minutes in, and that means it's time for show and tell. So I don't know about you guys, but I am curious to see what Dom has for us this week.
Okay, you are going to follow me as I walk away here for a second. I got something good. Oh,
we're still just looking at. We're not following. There we go. You're back. Okay.
well, you're kind of following.
It was like
me.
your
You
camera's
saw-
not following you.
Somebody saw me walk away. Jason said he was watching on YouTube, so he might have seen me.
I mean, I
leave.
saw you get up and leave frame, but the camera
Yeah,
didn't
leave.
follow you.
Exit right. Exit stage right.
Exit stage right.
Okay. For continuation, right, Tom? Is that right?
Continuity.
Continuity. Okay.
Yeah.
It does look odd when all of a sudden somebody comes in a different way or leaves a different way. Yes. Okay. Okay. That's neither here nor there. Okay. So today's show and tell. I decided that I was going to, let's say this. Over the years, I've doubted my construction abilities. And my wife always thinks I could add an addition onto the house with like a Dremel and a hammer. Like I don't have enough tools to build things. But in this case, I decided I'm going to finish my basement. I'm going to do it myself, and it's going to be kick-ass. So today, what I'm going to show you is my glue gun. Putting up liquid nails. Yeah, I'm gluing the whole base, just board and everything. No, the reason me and my daughter Madeline are putting up foam board insulation, and this is why I have the glue gun. So we're using glue like crazy. So 50 years from now, if I sell the house, people are going to be like, "Why did he put so many tubes of glue on this insulation?" But it's already warmer. This is my glue gun. I kick butt with it. What, Tom, you don't like my glue gun? F off.
I like your caulk gun.
Come on, but I have liquid nails in it.
Yeah,
So,
but it's
caulking gun.
it's not what you put in it that names the tool.
I don't know, man. So you could consider this a caulking gun. What is it? So, but you're saying if I put caulking in it, it would be a caulking gun.
It says caulking gun on the side, Dom.
It's
it
a
says
caulking
heavy-duty
gun.
Caulking gun.
Damn it!
Yeah, you can buy it in Home Depot. That's a caulking gun. That's not
look, it
that's
even
not a
said-
glue gun. A
it
glue
even-
gun is plugged in.
Look, it even says on the side of it, heavy duty caulk gun.
Yeah.
Show and tell went wrong. show and tell gone wrong today. Well, forget it. But someday I will have a basement that is glued, since I only have a Dremel and
a caulk gun.
Yeah,
Hey,
and a
Dom,
caulk gun. Go on, Brian.
you use a glue gun so you could put those little sparkly bedazzling things on your jeans.
I'll do that too, Brian.
Don't you over bedazzle yourself.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
bedazzle walls afterwards. So
And don't use a hot glue gun to put up insulation either.
Yeah.
It's so the reason for this show and tell is I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to step up, and I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and do something I've never done. And it's going to, no matter how long it takes me, even if it's one stinking panel at a time, it's going to look good.
I applaud the effort. And look, it was such an easy way to break your chops, right? Because you're calling it a glue gun. It literally says caulk gun right on the side of it. But yeah, I mean, look, I applaud the effort. I like that you're gonna take on, and I always like, you know that I'm a big fan. I think anybody that listens to us, that anybody that's heard me talk over the last few years that we've been here together with doing Not the Smartest Guys in the Room, even before it was called Not the Smartest Guys in the Room, that we've been doing this every week, knows that I'm a big fan of pushing yourself, challenging yourself, extending your knowledge and growing as a person by doing so and through doing so. And so I think it's great that you're going to take on the task of finishing off your basement. I think it's going to be a great basement. I've been there. I've seen the basement. I think it'll be a fun place to hang out. Lord knows you've got tons of great memorabilia and ways to decorate it. It's going to be a great little space to hang out. Maybe watch Steelers away games, and have a good time hanging out, and maybe watch some basketball too, right? So I think it's going to be great when you're all done, and I can't wait to see it one of these days.
Hey, Dom, don't forget to put the shag carpeting, in the right areas, and don't forget the mirrors on the wall. It really makes the place look bigger.
I just have to say, I'm crying laughing here about Brian, the king of the wood shop. Like I watch all his videos, how he just said, don't over bedazzle yourself with your glue gun.
Oh, come on. You guys could all see Dom with that mustache and jeans on that he bedazzled with his glue gun.
Hey, if you guys come to the next Creative Con, I might just wear bedazzled jeans or like a sweater I make myself that'll just be bedazzled. It'll, like that's what I want.
Hey, don't forget the Angora underneath your ring.
I don't even know what Angora is.
Oh, jeez.
Bedazzling is harder than you think, so don't dismiss it, okay, guys?
That's right, Julie. Thank
Harder
you.
than you think.
That's right, Julie. Okay. All right. Now one more thing on this basement. When my son went away to college, and the first thing I did to start, I started cleaning out the garbage, and he had a mini hoop that was broken, up on the wall, and he shattered 10 of them, and he breaks half my memorabilia. My Kobe Bryant Jack in the Box got broke by him because the ball dunks and the ball bounce everywhere. So I took the mini hoop down first because I'm thinking, well, if I'm going to fix things, I can't have things keep getting broken. He went down there and saw it. He's like, this is personal. The first thing you did is took down the mini hoop. You didn't have to do that. So he said I was attacking him personally by taking down his broken mini hoop. Hey, John, did you want to say something, or is that a high five?
I definitely want to say something. Your show and tell is a perfect segue for importance of paying attention to detail. If you had just taken a black marker and changed a caulking gun to glue gun, it'd have been a glue gun. But no. So, and the last thing, for people who want to see Dom with a mustache, just do a Google search for Ray Romano with a mustache. Perfect example.
Ray Romano with better hair.
No, with more money. That's all you got to say. He's got more money.
That's true.
Other than that, he's got nothing on you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. I like this guy. Okay.
I was going to say Ray Romano with better hair. I was going to throw you that one because I know you're proud. You're proud of your luscious locks, and I was going to throw you that one. I was going to say Ray Romano with better hair.
All right, here's what I want, Tom. You get ready for a wrap up, and I want from the room, you got 30 seconds each, a tip on attention to detail in whatever world you're in. Give us a tip that would help us. So I'm going to scramble this around and don't take it. Come on, 30 seconds. Go on. Carrie, what do you got for us? Attention to detail, something we could do.
Research. Heavily research the person that you're going to be working for, photographing, dating, interviewing. Find out about people. And I think make it about them.
Beautiful. Okay. Jason, what do you got? Tip, attention to detail.
Breathe and take your time at looking at what you're looking at. Just breathe and take your time. That determines the level of detail. Don't be in a rush to get through everything.
Breathe. Okay. Julie, you got any attention to detail tips for us? Go on.
Well, I mentioned it already. It's my favorite. So remember people's names. It will go a long way.
Remember their names. Yep. Sometimes I'll say Julie, Julie, or I'll say, I know a Julie and this is that Julie. Okay, Leslie, tip, attention to detail.
Okay. Passion, persistence, perseverance. Your dreams will then trickle into wanting to create detail in everything you do in life.
3 P's, good stuff. Swifty, attention to detail.
I'm going to follow on that P line, which is practice and preparation. Prepare, and practice. If it's a speech, practice it. If you're writing something, prepare it, read through it, set it down, come back to it, make sure it's what you want, but practice and preparation.
Good stuff. John Jay.
Well, the one thing I would say is learn to pay attention to detail of what's important. Don't sweat the small stuff. Sometimes we get lost in obsessing about things that in the grand scheme of things don't really matter. So, for example, Dominick, look at the label. That will go a long way. Thank you.
Man, I really messed up with that show and tell.
You
Okay.
did big time.
Okay, I'm going to give you, mine is don't rush. Good stuff takes time. And on that note, Tom, it is time. What a segue. It is time for your wrap up. Go on, my friend.
That was actually unwittingly a perfect segue to my wrap up, because what I want to talk about is how paying attention to detail and good preparation in paying attention to detail takes time. So as we were talking about at the very beginning of today's episode of Not the Smartest Guys in the Room, we were talking about my Ironman coming up on Saturday. And I started preparing for this Ironman race back in April, right? It's a 6-month process pretty much, right? To start, it was at the beginning of April that I started my training cycle for this Ironman. So it's virtually a 6-month training cycle to get ready for one day. 6 months in preparation for one day. And there's a couple of things that really that go into that. One, paying attention to the details of your training plan and your preparation is incredibly important, right? But you have to do so with the ability, as John Jay rightly pointed out, you have to do so with the ability to take a step back, take stock of the bigger picture, and understand that occasional and small shifts here and there are not going to sink the overall progress or sink your aspirations or what you're trying to accomplish. So, don't sweat the small stuff. There are times over the course of the last 6 months that I was not able to get in I did not make every single one of my training workouts. I did not do every single one of them exactly the way it was written. And that's okay. I did the vast majority of them. I did them well. Sometimes I worked a little bit harder than I needed to. Sometimes I didn't work quite as hard as I needed to. But I got the training in, right? As they like to say, the hay is in the barn, and now we are moving into race day on Saturday. But I paid attention to the details, even coming right up to race day. Like I said yesterday, I've started my race day nutrition plan yesterday. I started my carb load yesterday so that my glycogen stores are all topped up and I'm ready to go with every single ounce of fuel I could possibly have on board for Saturday as I try to set this personal best and break 10 hours in an Ironman race, which is a big feat, and I'm hoping to accomplish it. But the devil's in the details, and hopefully I paid enough attention and put in all the work to be able to get it done on Saturday. So I just want to leave everybody with that paying attention to the details sets you up for success in the long run. It sets you up to succeed. And if you ignore the details, you do so at your own risk. So just bear that in mind as you go forward. Details really do matter, and it can make a monumental difference when you pay attention to them. That's all I have for this week. please wish me luck as I go into this race on Saturday. If you want to track me, you can do so on the Ironman app. You can just search my name on the Ironman Tracker app. You'll be able to find me in Ironman, Maryland. I'll be racing there this Saturday. So please send me positive thoughts, wish me luck, cheer me on from afar. I appreciate all of your support. Appreciate you, Dom, doing this every week, hosting Not the Smartest Guys in the Room with me. And we appreciate all of you guys for being here, being part of this community, and being the reason why we do this every Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So until next Wednesday, when we'll undoubtedly give you a little bit of a race recap, and Dom will update us on the progress he's making in the basement with his caulk gun. Until then, everybody have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Bye-bye.